Shh.
Start?
Yep.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Patty Lynch, and on behalf of my father, Pat, and the entire Lynch family, I'd like to welcome all of you. And on behalf of Laura's family, I want to thank you very much for being with them here this evening. Tonight's services are not going to be overly formal. Most of it is going to be an opportunity for those here that wish to share a story or a memory or a thought. You'll be given that opportunity. Some family members have prepared remarks, and a few of them will go first. And then there will be a time that if you feel like getting up and sharing something, you're welcome to do so. No one's obligated, but you're encouraged. I'd err on the side of 2 or 3 minutes, not 20 to 30, as a courtesy to everybody here. But please know you'll be able to do that if you wish. Before we get going, it might be smart to turn off your cell phone or at least silence it so it doesn't interrupt us. Laura's sister Linda is going to come up shortly. She was kind enough and courageous enough to go first. But before she does, we're going to begin with a prayer. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. Heavenly God, we offer you thanks and praise for the life of your faithful servant. We thank you for all the blessings that you bestowed upon her and through her in this life. We thank you especially for all the love she was able to bring into the world, and also for all the love she was able to receive, especially from those gathered here in this room in honor and memory of her. We ask that you welcome her home now, and that you reunite her with all those who went before her. And we ask in a very special way that you comfort those here. Confident in your love for her and for all of us, we pray in the way we have been taught together. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners now and at the hour of our death. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. So Linda, come on up.
Well, my sister would be really loving this party of hers, so we dressed her in one of her favorite outfits, her party outfit, and we said, this is her party. And she'd be really proud of the legacy she's leaving. Look at all these kids and grandkids and great-grandkids. But my sister, as you know, she was born in Kinner, Kentucky, in the hills of Kentucky. She was the baby of the family at the time. Dora, her sister Dora, was 10. Cleo was 8. And until she moved to Detroit, she was the baby. And when they came to Detroit the first day of kindergarten, my dad took her to school, came home, and the principal called him and said, Laura's in here, we don't know where she is. And so he started looking around the house, and she was hiding under the steps. She had left school, came home, hiding under the steps, and then he found her. So she always beat her own drummer from a very young age, decided she was going to do that. She became the middle child when my brother and I were born, and she didn't want it. She liked being the baby. And then she became the babysitter of us, which was really a pain in her. My brother and I, when we were apart, we were both in diapers. And so my parents and my granny would say, sit on the porch and watch your babies. And they always called me baby. I thought my name was baby, because they said, someone go get the baby. So she struggled not being the baby, so she didn't like being the middle child. And she became very bossy to my brother and I, and those who know my sister know she was bossy. But when we were little, she would say, she had a bedroom upstairs, and she'd say, go up there, Linda Jr., I want you to go get my shoes. We'd come down. Go up and get my brush. We'd come down. And she'd say, go get this. We'd say, finally we said, we're not doing this. So then she wanted to beat us with the brush. I got her hand-me-downs, not her clothes, because she was like 7 years older than me. But I got her blue bike. My dad thought he was so proud giving me her lusty old blue, creaky old bike. My sister said, well, I had it, you should love it too. And she used to dress me up. I was like her doll. So from when I was little, she always did my hair. She put pretty little clothes on me. And then she had me, if you remember, Milky the Clown and Twin Pines. They had a contest. She had me sitting with a bottle of milk, all dressed up. She sent it in. I didn't win, but she thought I would. And then she took me one time when I was little. She kept saying, I'm going to take you to high school. I'm going to dress you up and take you to school. I was so excited. I'm going to go to high school. I'm like 8. So she fixed me all up. My dad took us to school. He dropped us off. And I was so excited to go and meet all the kids in this big Pershing High School. And what did she do? My dad, we said, bye, Dad. And then as soon as he pulled away, she grabbed my hand, took me out of the school. We got on a bus and went to her boyfriend's house. So I loved having a teenage sister. She introduced us to Elvis Presley. It was a black and white TV. He was on the Ed Sullivan Show. And she had to watch it. We'd turn it on, and she was screaming, what's going on with him? But then she taught my brother she taught us the halftime dance, jitterbug, and we learned about spin the bottle because she had her friends over in the basement. My mother and I would sneak down and sit on the steps and make you spin the bottle. So she says, one day you'll be spinning bottles. I don't want to kiss those boys, she'd go behind, they go in this little cellar and kiss. And then at 18, she left us, and we were very sad because we loved having this teenage sister, and she married Bill Jones. She had 3 beautiful children, and she had, by 24, she had 3 children. And I can remember how much she loved those babies, and I babysat every one of those babies. But one time when she had Billy, she always gave him her first bite off her dish and the last. And I would say, why do you do that? And she'd say, my babies will always get my first and last bite when they food. I never forgot that about her. She always worked. She had a work ethic. She worked at Baker Shoes when she was a teenager. My dad would take my brother and I up to pick her up, and she had the poodle skirt and the scarves around her neck and the tight sweaters and the ponytail, just like the 50s. We thought she was so cool. She worked in the trucking business with her husband when they started that. She worked in the school when her kids were growing up to be near them. She was in the administrative office working at the school. And then she got her real estate license and her broker license and started her own lending business, a mortgage lending business. And my sister Cleo has a wonderful memory. My sister Cleo was laid off from teaching. She was a teacher and got laid off and was really depressed. My sister Laura said, come into my company and work for me. I'm going to teach you the business. And Cleo said, but I'm inexperienced. I don't know anything about the mortgage business or real estate business. And Laura said, I'm going to teach you, I'm going to train you, and you're going to be good at this. And Cleo said she respected her leadership and business skills and was really impressed with her when she watched her in this business. And she said, only a loving sister would do that. Another example Cleo had about Laura's love is Cleo she thought she had breast cancer, and she had to go for tests, and her kids were busy, and her husband was busy, and she had to go alone, and she was really scared. She shows up at the hospital, who's standing there? Laura. And so Laura said, I can't let you do this alone. She loved her family. She loved her siblings, all of us. She loved her children, grandchildren, and her great-grandchildren. And my son, most of you know, my sister suffered for years with this vascular disease and with her legs. But I can tell you, I don't know anybody that was stronger, more resilient, endured that pain for many years. She found the inner strength to keep going. She was a survivor. And she just kept going. And that's one of the things she taught me. She didn't complain about it, as much pain as she was in. She took every day as she could to be with her family and her kids, and she wanted to live. So when she was passing away, when I had my last moments with her, when she and I worked together with her kids that we were going to take this journey on hospice, and that she decided it was enough. She said to me first, if you know, my sister had a blue sweater on. She says, Linda, I love that sweater. I think I should take it with me. And I said, well, if you want it, you know, and then she says, and the other thing, I'm gonna really miss your phone calls. And I said, you're not gonna miss them as much as I'll miss yours. So I wrote a real quick little poem for her. I said, I'll miss you always, my dear sister. My heart has been broken since the day you had to go. And memories I treasure dearly are in my tears that flow. You'll be in my thoughts every day, and that is how it will be and always be. For you will be up in heaven now, but you'll always be with me. If only I could have a chance to see your face and hear your voice just one more time. The day that heaven calls me, I'll run to you with open arms, and we will be together again in God's loving and warm embrace. Okay. Who's going to Shane?
You go.
And this is her daughter Lori.
Well, I'm probably gonna do more reading than trying to get through this. It's a public speaking thing because I'm obviously reading, so I think it'll be easier for me to just get through it. Obviously, there are no words. My heart is broken and a piece of it is missing. Our bond was very, very strong. When I was growing up, I couldn't lie to her or keep anything from her. In fact, she had such a hold on my conscience and that part of me that was her, that I always confessed what I did, anything wrong, or when I did anything wrong. When I was grounded, my friends would say, you told her again, didn't you? And they knew I told her, because they knew the relationship. And I remember in later years, a couple of my friends saying to me that our relationship, they were so, your relationship with your mother was like nothing, and they had regrets that they didn't have that same kind of relationship that I did. So that was a big thing. When I was pregnant, she got morning sickness. The second time I was pregnant, she told me I was having a child before I even knew it. So that was her, and that's how we were. As you look around the room, up here primarily, you're gonna see references to the Queen. And this got started when my sister-in-law, Kim, got really frustrated with my brother one day because he had to go do something for my mom and do it right now. And Kim, being a wife, and she's, what do you mean you gotta go right now? We have this going on and that going on. And finally she threw her hands in the air and said, go, the Queen has spoken, just go. And Katie was about 4 years old at that time, and she went with her dad over to Nana's house and proceeded to throw her mother under the bus. Nana, she said, you're the Queen. And my mom looked at Katie and she said, well, she's absolutely right. I am the Queen and she better never forget it. But if I'm the Queen, that means she's a princess. So that was how my mom handled that little incident. I want to thank a lot of people, but first I want to thank my mom because she was a fighter and she put up with a lot of pain for a lot of years to be present for her family. My Aunt Linda and my Uncle Herb, for everything they've done for her and for us. My husband, for understanding that I needed to be there for my mom. And I was absent from my home for the last couple of years quite a bit, taking care of her and doing as much as I could. It's been a long journey. Additionally, I want to thank my son Shane for sticking with his grandma when she couldn't be alone anymore. And it wasn't hard, it wasn't easy, she wasn't easy. So he lived with her and they had a special bond from the time he was a baby. So he stepped up when he had to. And then there's so many people that did so many things. But my daughter, Julia, she would help me. She would come at the drop of a hat to help me get my mom out of that apartment. We'd go shopping, we'd go to have lunch, and just do anything to get her out of there. But especially when I had major surgery recently, a year ago in October, it was important to my mom that she be there. Now, she's in a wheelchair and, you know, it's really hard. And my daughter made that happen. And that was really important to my mom. Me as well, but more important to my mom at the time. And my daughter made that happen. My son Zachary traveled just a little while ago across the country by himself with Eddie to make sure that she got to meet her great-granddaughter and spend a little bit of time with her. And they did. So many people. I could go on here for an hour. My cousin Melinda for making sure she got to see her sister. Melinda would drive from Novi, bring Cleo to see her sister, and that was really important to my mom. Lynn brought Rose not that long ago, less than 2 months ago. You know, knowing the direction this was headed, Lynn got on a plane with her daughter and brought Rose to see my mom. They had a special relationship. My mom used to take care of Rose. When she was a baby, she'd go in the winter months and stay with Lynn and take care of Lynn's baby. And so that was Jaya, and that's pretty much it. Most of all, I just want to thank everybody for coming here today and remembering her and honoring her. So thank you. No, I'm not.
You did well. I think we got a couple more.
I'm gonna cheat a little bit. Just a little. First and foremost, I want to thank everybody for coming. I mean, to say that the person there is not incredible is an understatement. She's an incredibly special lady. We hear that all the time at these things, but to somebody to describe how tough someone was, there's no measure. I watched for a long time, you know, the thing with the legs, and, you know, you had to be there for her, and it was tough. And I can say that my grandma was, she was every bit fiery, she was every bit alive. If you walked in her house, and as all my friends can say, you better have your shoes off, you know, absolutely, and, you know, I got away with murder with grandma. There's no way. I mean, I think about all the guys that are here, and I think of one story. I said, hey, Nana, I want to buy a safe. And she goes, what kind of safe? And I go, something to keep things in. You know, I sold her the whole bit, and she's looking at me like, yeah, okay. And then you just hear Eddie almost dying, trying to carry this 500-pound safe down the basement. Me and Rory are trying to hold it up, and you just hear like, whatever, and 5 minutes later all you hear is, you dead? Nope, we're all right, Grandma, we're alive. She goes, I don't want to know, I don't want to look, whatever. And that's just, you know, she was always that way. I could always confide in my grandma, I could always go there for my grandma, and she was an amazing person that just touched anybody that, you know, wanted to come see her pass the trials and tribulations. And there's really nothing else to say except for she was incredible. You know, she had the biggest heart in the world. Whether you needed to be bailed out of jail, whether you needed to be, you know, a college paid for, you know, a car, my grandma was there, no matter what. Any of us grandkids. And she dedicated so much of her life to us and being there for us. And we all had our own special relationship with her, and the people that we brought around had amazingly an incredible relationship with her as well. And again, I just want to thank everybody for coming, and thank you for honoring such an amazing woman. And I hope that her passing is something that we can all cherish, because it's definitely a blessing not to see her in pain anymore. Thank you.
They're almost done. Little world. You wanna go back to Daddy? Good to have her now. Your turn.
Hi everyone. I am Julia. I am Laura's youngest granddaughter. She had two of us. It was me and Katie, and we were her little princesses, as my mom said. So please excuse me if I don't look up much while I'm reading this. I think I might get a little emotional if I do. So I'm just going to read what I've written on behalf of myself, and I think some of it will relate to my cousins and my siblings, as well as her nieces and nephews, so I will just read what I have written. My family is deeply saddened this week by the loss of our matriarch. To many of you, she was Laura, but I had the special privilege of calling her Grandma. My grandmother was a force to be reckoned with. She always taught me to be strong and outspoken. As a child, I was timid and I worried too much about what other people thought. But she helped bring out a confidence and a fearlessness in me. My grandmother lived for her family. She thrived on making her grandchildren and great-grandchildren laugh and smile. She was close with many of her nieces and nephews and had special bonds with each and every one of us. I spent so much time with my grandma growing up. I'd have sleepovers at her house regularly. My siblings and cousins always knew it was a treat to spend the night at Nana's house. She had the best kids' movie collection that she curated for us, and even better snacks. She loved to spoil us. I can remember eating frozen yogurt and fudge-striped shortbread cookies at midnight in her kitchen. Boy, did she spoil us. But she also had her rules. Eating on her couch was strictly forbidden. She was very serious about that. As I grew older, our relationship evolved. She went from being just my grandma to becoming a confidant. She nursed my broken heart through several young relationships, and she always instilled in me the importance of being self-sufficient and never relying on another person for my happiness or feeling of self-worth. She also instilled in me the importance of focusing on my own personal aspirations and taking my own goals seriously. My Nana was unapologetically herself, and even in these last few years, despite elevated health challenges, she never lost the traits that made her the tenacious, fearless, and headstrong woman that I admired. There are so many things that I want to say to my grandma again. I want to thank her for the countless lessons she taught me, though I could never recall them all. But more than anything, I want to thank her for giving me my mother and shaping her into the person that she is. Witnessing the love they had for each other, I understood at a very young age that there is a special kind of bond between mother and daughter, a bond that knew no bounds. My mom is in many regards a direct reflection of the woman that raised her, selfless, compassionate, and with an incredible capacity for love. My grandma was also incredibly generous. She always found a way to support us all, even if it meant she went without. She wanted to make sure we were always taken care of. I know I will live the rest of my life feeling love, gratitude, and pride for being gifted with such an amazing grandmother as Laura. I hope to see you again, Nana. I love you today, tomorrow, and always. Even though you are no longer here, I will still feel your presence daily as I remember the life you led. All my love, Julia.
Anyone else would like to come up, you're welcome to do so. I'll do it, I'll take care of that. But anyone else who might want to come up and share a thought or a story, you're welcome to do so. We will be concluding the service with a song. And before that happens, I just want to reiterate your opportunity. And if you don't come up, it's okay, we'll sit quietly for a few minutes. You got something?
Hi everybody, I'm Little Lynn. I'm Linda's daughter.
Yeah. She loved me as much as my grandma Rose. I know. When my mom wouldn't let me get Madonna clothes, Yaya did. When I dated every wrong boy out there, Yaya would say, "You'll get sick of them, it's okay." When I found the right ones, she told me to stay and I didn't. When I met Rosie, Yaya watched her for me every day. She fell asleep with Rose every day, almost having her fall off the couch. I would come in and say, "Yaya, she's falling off of the couch." She would say, "But I have a pillow." She said, "Oh." When I would have arguments with Mom, Yaya would tell me I was okay and it would pass. The last time I came and spent time with Yaya, she told me so many things. But mostly she just loved Rosie so much. She was so happy I had her. And just so happy she was a part of her life. I didn't call Yaya a whole lot, but every time I did, she answered. And every time she made me feel like my grandma Rose. Yaya was really silly. One time, she called me and said, "You have to come get me, a snake just bit my head." And I was working, she was at Mom's, and I said, "Oh, what?" She said, "Come get this snake, it just bit my head." And I ran over to my mom's house, which was behind mine, and there was a snake all curled up in the corner. And she was holding her head, and I said, "Where did it come from?" And she said, "I opened the door, it fell on my head, bit me." And I'm kind of a tomboy, so I got a hoe and chopped its head off, and then I called my mom and said, "We're going to the hospital, Mom, I got bit on the head." Here we are in the emergency room, and she is holding her head and wouldn't let me look in the head. And they were taking a long time, so then she said, "We need to leave, they're never gonna come back." And I said, "But it hit your head." She said, "Oh, hell, I don't know if it bit my head, let's just go." And we left the emergency room, never knowing if it bit her head. But I loved Yaya so much. She will be really missed.
Thank you. Before we conclude with a song, just one last opportunity if there's anyone else. There will be a reception, and after the song, I'm going to give you details on that, and that will be another place, obviously, to share stories and memories with one another. So at this time, Jessica and Scott are going to come forward to perform. I used to be able to say just Jessica, but now it's Jessica and Scott. So they're going to grace us with some music, and then I'll have an announcement after that. Thank you.
That saved a wretch
is great.